Hello students, today we're going to look at word processing with Google Docs. That is our main word processor in the Google applications. There are other applications that are called word processors, but not inside Google Doc or inside the Google application suite. Word processing basically works with mostly text. You can add some images and some drawings, but for the most part, it's just about text. So our first section is going to be working with fonts. The choice of font for a document is an important decision. For classwork, it is usually appropriate to have a serious type of font that is able to be read. There is still a lot of choice and personal style you can add to the work. Titles and headings can be a bit more stylized. However, it is still important to think about whether the words can be read. Personal and more creative work can have fonts that are more elaborate or interesting to you. The size of the font is also an important factor. For classwork or other formal writing assignments, the normal size that is appropriate is 11 to 14 point. Headings and subheadings would have a slightly larger text size. Always listen to teacher directions to see if a size is given. The color of the font is almost always black, yet there are several times you can change the font color. Emphasizing specific words with a different color can make those words stand out, just like I've done. This should be used in rare cases. Creative and fun documents can use colored fonts, just be careful to make them readable. A dark background would want a light colored font. A light background would want a dark colored font, such as this. Other styles added to the fonts can make words stand out as well. Bold makes the font thicker, and italics makes the letters slanted. Underline puts a line under each character. Let's go to an example for all of these. So here you'll notice that I have a sample document. So I've got a title up here at the top. It is a little bit larger. It's a fairly basic font. Notice it's called Droid Serif, and it is larger, size 28. But down here, I tried to change the font up a good bit. You wouldn't want to do that in normal writing. I did it for emphasis because I'm teaching you about fonts. So I've got Questral right here, which is also a pretty basic serious font. Then I moved to something called Calligraffiti. And notice it is not very basic. It's a little more stylized. Now it's not nearly as stylized as like Bubblegum Sans or the Bungee shade, but it still is a little bit more artistic than you would want for some serious writing. And then I moved into this Comforta, which is also pretty basic. Here you will see I did an italics on this word, so you can see how it slants a little bit. And I've got the bold and the underline on Welcome to Class. Also, all of these, you may notice, are kind of in a dark blue color. That is the color chosen at the moment, whereas black would kind of be your typical basic font. And your text can be aligned or line up in different places on the page. Left aligned is the standard alignment with all of the text lining up on the left margin. Right aligned lines all the text along the right margin. And center aligned puts the text in the center of the line. Justified alignment aligns the text between both the left and right margins. Let's go to my example again. So these are all left aligned. But if I highlighted them, there is the right aligned. So you can see it all moved kind of to the right margin, this right area here where it's kind of an imaginary line from this arrow down. And of course my title up here is center aligned. Here is the justified alignment. It's a very slight, so I'm going to switch back and forth. And you can see a very slight change to that top line. There are many fonts that create beautiful text themes. some are not fit. That slightly moved a little bit, put a little few spaces between the words, just a smidge more to get it to line up with the left and the right margin. So now we're moving on to working with text. Understanding how to move and change your text around is very helpful to learn how to use a word processor. The basic commands of cut, copy, and paste will be essential in different situations. Cut will remove text from one area. It is stored in the virtual clipboard until you paste it somewhere. Copy will make another set of the same exact characters. It is stored in the clipboard until you paste it somewhere. Paste takes whatever was placed in the clipboard and puts it where you asked. Really, it takes the last thing that you placed in the clipboard. Now, my new Android phone does have a section of its clipboard where you can take the last 5 or 6, maybe even up to 10 items you placed in the clipboard at different times. And way back, we're talking more than 20 years ago, I can remember Microsoft Word having a section like that with their little clipboard. But it's not as common anymore. So usually it's just the last thing that was placed there. Another way to move characters is to highlight the section and drag it to another spot in the document. This is like cutting and pasting, except you're dragging with the mouse. And all the documents have a header at the top of the page. The header does not show up until you double-click at the top of the page. The header will be the same for every page in a document unless you change it. If we look back to my document, you can see the header up here, but I can't just one-click into it. I have to double-click, then the header opens. Notice here this is where it says different first page, and there are other options to the header. If I scroll down, you can see the next page keeps the same header at the top of the page. So if I were going to cut this, of course I could highlight it and Control X, or I can right click and cut, move it to another section where I want it, and then I can paste it in, or I could highlight it and drag it back where it was. So that's how the cut and paste or dragging do work. Now, when we have new paragraphs, it's expected that these new paragraphs begin on the next line. To indicate a new paragraph, writers have two options. Put a blank line between each paragraph or indent each paragraph without an extra line between paragraphs. You'll notice I have an indent and an extra line. Usually it's one or the other, not both. So here we have our section on working with lines. Indenting in a document is a visual cue to the reader that something is different about this text. So beginning a new paragraph or offsetting an entire paragraph, especially a long quotation. You can indent with two options. Tab, the Tab key on your keyboard, will move the cursor over to the next indent spot on the ruler above. The preset tabs are usually at 5 characters to the right. The Increase Indent button will move the entire paragraph to the next tab position, including any future lines, until Enter is pressed. So if we go back to my example, you'll remember that I already indented, but if I get rid of that indent, I can use the Tab key. We'll see at the top where the blue line is on the ruler and where the arrow is. So the arrow is where the left margin is going to be, and the line is where that indent is. If I go back, there's that Increase Indent button that I mentioned. If I push that, notice it took both lines of the paragraph, not just the first one. So we're really going to use that Tab key much more often then we'll use the increase indent button. Now, working with spacing, documents can have differing spacing between lines of text in order to make the text easier to read. To change the spacing between lines of text, we go to Format, Line and Paragraph Spacing. Options are single, 1.15, 1.5, and double. In order to automatically place a little more space between your paragraphs, you can customize this spacing. You would go to Format, Line and Paragraph Spacing, Custom Spacing, and change the amount of space before and after each paragraph. So let's go to the document and look at those. So if I go to Format, Line and Paragraph Spacing, you'll notice we have that single, 1.15, 1.5, and double. You will know that some of your English teachers have told you double spacing. And notice how much space it does add to our document. If I undo that and bring it back, but if I want to say that I want to put space before or after, I can customize it and say before the paragraph 12 and after the paragraph I want 30. Notice how added a little more space above it, but a lot of space between the two paragraphs. We also have working with lists. So sometimes you don't need to write in full paragraphs. Maybe you want to emphasize a list of directions or specific items. Numbered lists give a number at the beginning of each line in order, just like this. Bulleted lists give a dot or other image at the beginning of each line. In order to emphasize details to each list, you can create a multi-leveled list. So this will indent and give a different character on the indented line. The tab key or increase indent will move that line over. You'll see here the 1, 2, 3, 4, but if I go back a slide, you can see where I have 2A, 3A, and B. So this is a multi-leveled numbered list. Again, I can have this right here with the numbered list option, or turn it off, or a bulleted list. And even with the bulleted list, I can change what those bullets might even look like. And the numbers are the same, that you can change which version you want, right like that. Hopefully you've learned a little bit about working with our Google Docs. We'll continue working some more on this and even dealing with images and shapes in our next couple days.